here at Fun to Drive. Hi guys, my name is Josh Rivera and I'm an automotive enthusiast. I've been building, racing and restoring cars for as long as I can remember since I was a kid, and along the way, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you'll notice that I posted a lot of build progress and shenanigans between along the way. I'm finally excited to take the big step to YouTube where I'll be able to create better content, more in-depth, in the nitty-gritty, how-tos and everything else in between. I started my career as a spray painter where I did my apprenticeship, become qualified, and I've got a lot of experience with bodywork, repairs and painting that I'd love to share with you guys. Obviously, a lot of these cars are going to be painted, first up being the BMW as part of the refresh. I'd love to be able to show you everything I know, tips and tricks for you guys that want to paint your own cars, whether it's a race car, higher end jobs. I'll show you bits and bobs as I go along the way, what to do. Obviously I have a lot of mechanical knowledge too, being I've done a lot of restorations in my time, built a lot of cars in my time. So expect to see a lot of different varying content on this channel. I'm excited to make all kinds of content and share it with you guys, whether it's, you know, the classic stuff, whether it's the JDM classics, there's drift car stuff, you know, car events I go to, everything in between. A great way to introduce the channel and myself will be to do a car tour. In this video, expect to see the entire range of all the cars I have, except maybe a few that are up at the farm that you won't see. A bit of a story about the cars, what I love about them, plans for them, goals, memories, and for the ones that do and for ones that do run, maybe we'll give them a bit of a rev for you guys. Starting off with my 1972 HQ Holden Kingswood. I bought this thing about 7 years ago from a farm up at Chariot. I remember like it was yesterday. I went with my best mate Daniel, we took his Hilux, we took his trailer, did about 1,000 Ks there and back picking this thing up. We dropped it off at the farm. We went on a round trip journey to try and find him a 1-tonner chassis for his HZ, which we ended up doing a restoration on. It was a really good day, one of my favourite memories of all the car things we've done. And we pretty much parked it up for about 7 years until June last year, where we decided to do a semi-resto on it. I know it doesn't look like it, but I intentionally wanted to keep this patina because I love how sun-kissed it is. Don't be fooled, because in the engine bay, underneath, and the interior has been fully restored. Up front, we've got the almighty reliable 202. Now, we wanted to keep it simple. We had a tight deadline for the car, so we didn't want to make it any harder for ourselves trying to get it done in 6 months for Bright Rod Run. So we kept it stock. We've had a full refresh of the engine bay. Everything's been painted satin black. All the suspension has been sandblasted, painted in 2-pack satin black, with brand new Super Pro bushes all throughout the whole thing. The entire chassis got sandblasted, powder primed and powder coated, so she'll last forever. We've got an alloy radiator, all brand new bolt-ons on the motor. Every bracket, every hose, everything's been changed, all rattle canned, cleaned up, anything that was original. Coming into the interior, we decided to go with the complete buckskin interior, apart from the black dash and the black steering wheel. I really like the buckskin. I haven't seen it done a lot, especially like this. So we went ahead and we bare metaled the entire interior of this thing. There was so much dirt, I can't even explain how much dirt we got out of this. There was bucket loads. I'll put a video here of it.
So just to put in perspective the amount of dirt that has come out of this car, besides like 3 10-kilo tubs, my cousin's vacuuming the car, and look, the amount of dirt in the air that's just been rattled loose. Wild. It was literally under the carpet. That was where the back seat was. That's just that. That was like everywhere, bro.
We went ahead and we re-seam sealed all of the joins. We painted the floors, the roof. We put sound deadening mats. We put stone guard. We put insulation, carpet, and of course the floor mats. The door trims and the seats, we've got second hand. Obviously they're a bit ratty, but it goes with the vibe of the car. I actually painted them all to match because we had a tight deadline. I couldn't get it all retrimmed in time. I do have the original buckets, which I'll be retrimming and putting back in the future. I'm happy with the way it is. It presents pretty well. For the wheels, we're running the Street Pro Imitation B locks in 15 by, I think 10 or 10.5 it is. I believe this was a 3.5-inch backspace. Most people go for the 5. I went a bit more dish, so obviously you can see the fitment isn't the best, but I have a 10-bolt Salisbury diff that we've narrowed that will be going in, so we'll be able to tuck these 255s under the guards real nice. 4.5-inch front runners up front, wrapped in Nankang tyres. Down the back, you'll notice we've already done the notorious lower quarter panel repair on the HQ because this thing was rusted all the way through, inside and outside on both sides. We also went ahead and put a brand new rear beaver panel and floor pan because the boot floor was completely rotted. I think this car used to be a tow car back in the day because this definitely has been sunk in some salt water and there was evidence to show it. My favorite part about this car would probably have to be the overall patina and the stance of it. I was really going for like a grandpa spec drag car, and I think we've done pretty well with that with the time frame we had. If not that, then definitely the buckskin interior. It feels really nice and luxurious on the inside, even though it presents as a bit of a rat rod. My favorite memories would have to be obviously picking it up. That was such a fun day doing the whole road trip, but above that would be the entire restoration process. My brothers and cousins and friends absolutely showed up for this build. We crunched this thing out 2 weeks before Rod Run. It had no chassis on it. It was completely bare metal floor pans on the underside and on the inside. We smashed a running gear and got it driving 4 days before, and I was riding the boot floor pan in while my brothers were fitting the diff 3 hours before we left for Bright. Just the way that everyone came in clutch. The boys are there every day when I needed it. We were doing 15-hour back-to-back days in between our jobs. So the effort, especially from my brothers, I can't thank them enough for getting this car done. Obviously, a project's never done. It's not perfect. It was perfect for what we wanted it for, which brings us to future plans. We need to get it registered. These plates are just for show. They're placeholders. We're so close to roadworthy. I just need to put a few bits and bobs back together. It runs and drives fine with just a few things we'll need to tweak. I need to finish welding up the rust repairs because everything was mostly done enough just to get it done there. Obviously, so button that up, a few more bits and bobs, and hopefully we'll be driving, doing our proper victory lap around town in Bright. So I'll give it a start up for you guys, let it warm up, give it a bit of a rev so you can see the 202 per. In true car guy fashion, it stopped turning from the key. I think the module might be dead. So if you know, you know. We're gonna do it old school. We're gonna jump the starter. Just like that. As you can see, she's absolutely purring right now. So let's give her a bit of a rev. She's straight extractors now. We didn't put an exhaust on it, so coming up, man. That's it. Up next is my absolute pride and joy, my 1989 R32 Skyline. I've had this car for about 15 years now. I think I bought it in 2010. It's pretty much stock as rock, RB20 NA. I did buy it on my Ps the whole year. I'll turbo when I'm on my Ps. That never happened. We do have an RB25 det in the shed ready to go on it. That's future plans. The duration of my apprenticeship, I painted the entire car front to back. The whole car got stripped, windows out, mirrors off, glass off, everything got stripped. The headlights got restored, repainted the bezels. We pulled the mirrors apart, painted all of those. You got new window seals throughout the whole thing. The only thing that didn't get touched was the engine bay because I planned to paint the engine bay when we put the new motor in it. I didn't want to risk scratching it up. So that's still stock. One of my favorite things about this is the 16-inch Hoshino racing wheels. I got these things for about 1,200 bucks from a guy in New South Wales. This is my first Cool Jap wheels. I got them hydro blasted and polished by Eastern Wheel Works. I got these custom spikes made. I staggered them, I thought it was cool. I repainted the centers, repainted the logos. We got some Toyo epoxy tires on them. When I built this car, I was about 19, and my vision for the car was I didn't want it to look like every other Skyline out there. I was going to meets back when Club R32 was still around. As much as I loved all the cars there, no hate to the boys, it was just black, 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 gunmetal, and all of them looked the same. I wanted to stand out. I love Japanese car culture, which is why you'll notice it's very heavily Japanese inspired. Under the hood, don't judge me, it's completely stock as it was when I got it 15 years ago. I wasn't worried about it mechanically. It presents all right besides the hideous wiring, don't at me. We did paint the underside of the bonnet. I thought it'd be cool to retain the original stickers on here, so we clear coated over that, masked around it. We did the same with the fuel flap as well. Just a few little intricate things I wanted to just keep a little bit cool. I thought it was something different. So yeah, nothing exciting to see here yet. Coming into the interior, we've kept it pretty stock besides the bride seat, the NRG quick release and the Nardi steering wheel. I did repaint all the plastics in the interior, the door trims. I didn't like the factory dark grey that it came with. I went black with everything. It's missing floor mats. There's a few bibs and bobs that I'm not happy with, but that's project cars, right? It's never finished. As you can tell, it's obviously raining right now. We are in Melbourne. Did really want to push this video out for you guys. So we're pushing through in the rain. Hopefully the cars don't get too much wetter. I don't get too much wetter, but let's carry on. Coming around to the back. One of the coolest features that I almost forgot about was my 10-inch blast pipes. Funny story about this, I actually got them made, and when the guys down at Havoc asked me how long I wanted it, I said I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure. I didn't have the car with me. I said just make them 10 inches long and I'll cut them down to size. I put them on. The boys being boys said, you wouldn't run it like that, you're too scared. And I said, bet. And it's been 10 years and they're still going. Haven't copped a defect yet. Fingers crossed I don't. A few more features that you might not notice. This was a P-plate mod. Was I decided to mask a clown face and smoke the power light. So when you press the brake light, you'll see that it looks like an angry clown. The touches that you might not notice to the naked eye is I obviously painted the Skyline in white. I did put a green pearl through it, which you will not see. Touches that only I'll know, and unless you have a keen eye, you won't notice it either. And obviously, the number plates. Fondest memories of this car would have to be, honestly, all the late night cruises with the boys, man. Like driving up to the hills, car shows, car meets, just cruising along, a bunch of boys having a good time, driving throughout the night, on hill runs, just having a blast, doing what car guys do. My future plans for this car, like I said, I've got an RB25 det sitting in the shed. I want to do a full forge build on that. I want this car to see big power. As I said, I got it as a P-plater. I did the whole turbo when I'm off my Ps. That got put on the back burner because it ran, it drove. I didn't want to pull it apart. So we'll do a full forge build on that. Paint the engine bay, obviously, and I want to do the entire underside of the car, just like I did with the HQ. I want to re-stone guide the whole thing, reseal it. I want to put new ball joints, new suspension, new brakes right at the thing. Obviously more power, I'm going to have to see bigger brakes. May change the Hoshinos out for something cooler. I kind of want to still keep it Japanese inspired, something cool, something different. We'll see how that pans out. Yeah, pretty much big power, change the stance up a little bit. I don't know if I'll go body kit on this thing. I really wanted to emphasize making the body as good as I could without having a kit. Like for example, things you won't notice is when I was blocking the car before I painted it, I sharpened all these body lines, past each side of it, blocked them as dead straight as I could so that they were nice and sharp. I really wanted to accentuate making stock body look as good as it could. That was one of my visions when I built the car. I don't think it'll see aero, but the main things being big power, maybe wheels, and the entire underside refresh. All right, let's start her up and hear that RB20 sing. Moving on to the seat time Chariot, my 94 E36 BMW 318 IS. I absolutely love this car. I bought it for about $2,200, ready to drift. It had a half cage already in it, almighty 4-cylinder M42. I've learned so much in this car. I bought this car initially to learn to steer. While I was building the pro car, the Datsun, I figured I'm putting a lot of time into that. I need a car where I can learn to drive, and then once I know what I'm doing, I'll get rid of it. I don't think that's gonna happen now because I've grown so attached to this car. I've learned to drive in this car, I've crashed in this car, I've taken so many people out. I've taken my mum out, my fiance. The people I never thought would jump in the car with me have seen what this little car can do, and I absolutely love it so much. The beginning of the channel, we'll start with the refresh of this car, because after 4 years of abuse, it's finally ready for a refresh. She's got a lot of damage that needs to be attended to, and I think we're ready for some power. If you follow on Instagram, you'll see we started the part 1 running the dyno video. We put up on a dyno with Jake from Tuntech, and she pulled astonishing 63 kilowatts, and to think that I've been drifting this thing with such little power. If you've been in the car with me, you know on the outside it might not look fast, but on the inside, we're balls to wall pushing it to limits. So I got so much love for this car, so let me show you a bit about it. Under the hood, as I mentioned earlier, the almighty M42 4-cylinder. As you'll notice, it's already been partially pulled apart because I started filming the first episode. I actually filmed the first episode for this before I did the intro video, and then I decided, hey, before I release this, I kind of want to do an intro. As you guys would have seen, I posted on my Instagram channel. So that's why we're sort of filming this a bit backwards. You'll notice this quality might be a bit better than the first episode you'll see of this. So keep that in mind when you do watch it. We have mocked up the turbo manifold. We ended up picking up a T28 turbo for this. You've seen the video, we started with the T25. So stock as a rock. I have not done anything to this car mechanically or power-wise since I've had it. All I've done is put fuel and tires in it with a few suspension adjustments for alignment. That's all I've done. Pulling the intake manifold off and pulling the injectors out for this car was the first actual diving I've done into a motor, which is just a testament to show how reliable it has been. It's pretty comical that I haven't touched anything, and I didn't need to for the entire time I've driven this car. On the outside, aside from the copious amount of dents, this one right here happened at Winton Raceway, my first time driving Winton, throwing this thing top of 3rd gear, 4th gear, having an absolute blast, driving the fastest I've ever driven because of how fast it is. And coming out of scrutineering, I was in driver's briefing, the bonnet pins are left open. That's my fault, I should have checked it. Drivers, check your bonnet pins. That's why, funnily enough, after doing that, we installed a safety catch. Rite of passage, the bonnet flew open, smashed my windscreen. I finished my lap with the bonnet on the windscreen, so that's all that damage. I've got a new bonnet for that. Wheels are running 17-inch BBS wheels and some BMW wheels on the back there. Mirrors, we've got some GK Tech's finest budget Ganadors. Surprisingly, these are for an S13. They fit and cheat code. All I had to do to get it to fit was to just chop the tiny little stalks that the screws screw into and shave a little bit of the rubber on the door. And other than that, make new holes on the inside for the screws to go in. and you get yourself some fake gannies. Over here we've got the worst of the damage. This was up at Calder Park on turn 1 where I was throwing it in hot. I had my younger sister in the car down from Darwin. When you're trying to show off, shit happens. I threw it way too deep in. I straightened the car and I sideswiped the entire car and clipped the water barrier on the edge here. So as part of the refresh, we'll be chopping this up, fixing it. Probably have to fit over fenders. I think we're too far gone. Plus we're gonna change the entire look of it. So over fenders are gonna happen regardless. Over here is what happens when you get too G'd up by the boys and you send it many wall taps. Luckily my bash bar, which is a bit Mad Max looking spec, it saved it for the most of it, and surprisingly we've kicked this out quite a few times. There's no boot floor left in it from when I've crashed it the first time. If you know E36s, you know that hitting this side all the time pulls this connecting beaver down and droops that side. You can see that side there is a bit droopy. You'll be able to see where I've built a crash structure. So I've made this frame solid, tied it into the chassis where the bash bar then bolts to it. Obviously having no boot floor makes it easier to straighten things out when we do get into a bingle, and easier to replace the bash bars. When we made the bash bars, my friend Mitch and I, shout out to Mighty Mitch Moz, we came up with this idea to try and hide, well, it was a lot better, but to try and hide the bash bar, you'll see within the lines of the molding that usually goes here on the BMWs. I don't like the idea of bash bars being on the inside of the quarter panel, because as soon as you hit a wall, and by the time it gets to the bash bar, you've caved your quarter in anyways. This was from a bit of a higher wall, so it missed that. But for the most of it, this has done a lot and it's saved me from so much damage. So we will be revising this. With the kit I'm going, I don't think we'll be able to do it. And I do also not like how much it protrudes. It scares off a few people. So we will be changing that. We'll be revising it to fit with the body kit, and obviously new lights, and this will all be changed. One of my favorite parts about this car would have to be the interior. I'm pretty proud of how well this has come up. When I got the car, it was pretty dog ugly. So I've gone ahead, I've put some Bride replica seats in it, a Joy Supply deep dish steering wheel with the cool flames. I made my own billiard ball gear knob to keep the red theme, my own custom boot knob with the little Shiba dogs on it. Another thing you'll know if you're a BMW boy, door cards sometimes are non-existent, so we went and made some out of ACP when I was working in the signing shop. We made a nice template, cut these all out, everything works nicely as it should. It gives it that nice racy look. It's lightweight. The thing about these door cards is I wanted to be able to get people to sign it. You might not be able to see it on camera, but there's Sharpie muscle here. Basically, I love taking people up for passenger laps, especially new people, people that have never been in a drift car. That's one of my favorite things about drifting besides driving with the boys. So as you can see, I've had a copious amount of people sign it. I love to be able to see as many names I can get on this door. I don't really care. Once it's full, I can hang it up in a shed. It's a cool shed piece, and I'll just put another panel on. So that's another cool little quirky thing I like to do. I thought I'd show you guys. As you can tell, the interior has as much of a Japanese aura as I could give it. I've tried to make it as cool of an interior, because the exterior can be as cool as you want it to be, but when you're driving, the cockpit is what you see. And I love that when you're in it, it gives you the vibes you're in an S13, and that's kind of what I'm trying to encapsulate in this E-chassis. My favorite memory with this car would have to be, honestly, all the track days with the boys. I couldn't pick one over all of them because they've all been pretty good. The last Drift X was probably my favorite. Drifting with my buddy Chris Hayes, I threw him in the car, we swapped cars, I drove his turbo Skyline.
Bro, how is it?
So nice to drive,
Yeah,
bro. What the fuck?
That's what I'm telling you, get a real car. Third gear's fucked. Get a real car with third gear.
But just look, every dent on this car, it's speed up, but every little thing has a story. There's been so many memories, probably all the smiles and all the laughs of everyone I've taken out of this car, driving it as fast as I absolutely can, just having a good time, dooring your friends, crashing, fixing it, learning, and everything in between, you know, having the boys around for a barbecue. When I put this thing into the wall, we straightened it out in a couple of hours, and just, you know, the real community that everyone comes together, and just every event, everything around this car, I absolutely love it. Future plans, as you'll already know if you've seen me on Instagram, and you'll see in the next episode of this, is we're doing the turbo build. So we'll be running a T28 turbo, we're running a Link ECU, we'll be doing, you know, all the works, injectors, wastegate, out the bonnet. We'll be doing a full external refresh. I'll be making another custom body kit. I'm not sure if you can tell, we've got an R32 front lower half that I've put onto this. I'm really trying to keep it budget, so you know, with BMWs, you only really have like stock or M Sport or random kits you can get from overseas. I wanted to keep it cost effective, you know, be able to buy something from Marketplace, chop it up and make it work and make it look cool. So we'll get a full body kit, we'll get a paint job, maybe some glitter, maybe something cool, maybe a roof piece, and definitely a livery. So I'll be bringing you guys along the way for that entire journey. I'm pretty excited for it, and you'll see the start of that in the next video. Next up, we have my Datsun 260Z. Don't mind the mess. I forgot to... I forgot to clean this up before the video started, but we'll keep it authentic, whatever. No movie magic here. So this is the car that started the drifting dream. We bought this car for $1,200, running, driving a complete car, although it doesn't look it now, with a complete spare chassis. We bought it up from a guy in Echuca for 1,200 bucks. I remember leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning. We drove up there with my stepdad and my brothers, loaded it up, drove all the way 4.5 hours back, dropped this in the driveway, drove all the way back the same day to pick up the rolling chassis, brought that back. We chopped that up for spares at the time because we didn't have the room for it, and that was a journey in itself. Under the hood, first thing you'll notice, 5.7 litre LS1. Now before you say, oh, just another LS swap, when I put this swap in, this was back when LSs was still about 800 bucks. I was thinking to myself, what engine am I going to put in it? I had the LS and the T56 drivetrain sitting on the floor of the garage, funnily enough next to this, and I was thinking, what am I going to put into it? I had just finished restoring the Skyline. I didn't want to do a resto. This was so far gone. The floor pans were completely flintstoned and rusted straight through, and I wanted a drift car. And I kind of thought, hey, there's an LS there. I wonder how hard it'd be to put it in. So I did a bit of Googling, found out that in the States, people do it left, right, and center. They drag race it. I was able to buy mounts that bolt straight in. They're adjustable. It's as far back as it goes. I can reach all the bell housing bolts from the top. What more could you ask for as a drift car? Obviously, the body isn't much to look at the moment. My stepdad went ahead and stripped all the paint off it, so we've just got some etch primer on it. It's got a bit of surface rust from the moisture of being outside, but that's the last of the priority on this. I'll probably, when I complete it, I'll drive it ready to get the car dialed in before we do the bodywork and paint on that. Coming into the interior, you can see it's pretty bare bones. There's actually a bit of surface rust on it now because obviously moisture's gotten in. This car's been sitting for a while. So one thing you might not know is I've actually had to raise the trans tunnel by about 20 mil. It's got a T56 gearbox in it. I made a cross member mount for it. It does bolt up fine. I didn't have to do that. I purely did that because I wanted a bit of room on top of it just for cooling, because it's going to get really hot with the gearbox being, it was pretty much like 5 mil off the box. So we just pie cutted it, put a bit of infill piece, raised it, and that works all fine. Got the seat rails all mounted and welded in. I may get rid of the sliders because I still sit a bit too high than I'd like. Although it does look a bit rusty, I put completely brand new sheet metal floor pans and chassis rails. I'll show you guys a photo here of what it used to look like. I'm not exaggerating when I say there was massive holes in the floor. I folded up some 2 mil steel sheet I had, close enough that I could get it to the shape of the car. I beaded it around the floor pan. I used tech screws to sort of pull it into the form. I went ahead and stitch welded it all the way around, plug welded the tech screws. Underneath that, I ran entire lengths front to back of 50x75 RHS all the way to the back, where I also extended the chassis right into my S13 subframe conversion that I'll get into in a second. Pretty much re-strengthening everything that was rusted out in this and making it a lot better, a lot more overkill than it was. I learned to weld on this car. I bought a welder for 250 bucks from Total Tools on clearance. All of this I learnt myself, so this is where the very beginning days of my modifications when it comes to fabrication. In the back, you'll be able to see custom shot towers I've made from scratch. So I actually got S13 top hats off of a scrap shell a mate had laying around, cut them off. I went and braced it with all the pipes to the original shock towers. You can see that's where they used to be. Bought some steel pipe, welded it into it. I used a strut brace that I put onto my brother's S13 to adjust the angle of the struts. I tightened everything, took it off his car, put it onto my strut towers, and then I made everything as laser true, left, right, up, down, forward, and back as I could. I took thousands of measurements to make sure that everything needed to be where it needed to be. I chopped the entire floor section out of the factory floors underneath. I did a lot of clearancing to be able to fit the entire S13 subframe in there. I had to chop up pretty much everything that was under the chassis, everything that was left of the chassis. So I went ahead and I started with a bare subframe. I took everything off so I could lift it up and down easy. Cut everything that was in the way, bolted the arms up, test fitted it in and out 100 times, making sure we articulated the suspension so that anything that was going to foul was not going to be an issue. I've cut it out and then I've replated it on top of that as well. We then went ahead with reinforcing the entire subframe with the GK Tech weld-on reinforcements. We painted it. We've got GK Tech catalog arms underneath, refreshed the diff. We've painted everything. Everything in the rear end is refreshed and brand new. It took me a good year to be able to come up with a plan of how to do this. There's probably only, I count with one hand how many people have actually successfully done this conversion, and there's not a lot of information about it. I sort of had to take dribs and drabs from forums, from videos of people that did do it. They might not have showed every step, so I had to piece it together with my own knowledge and just try to engineer it myself. I ended up cutting factory mounts out of my friend's R33 shell that he was getting rid of because I didn't want to use bolts. I wanted the tapered stud so it was as genuine as I could be. I then welded a crushed tube and plated that into a bit of 50x50 SHS, which I've welded in between the two rails. That picks up the rear mounts. and then for the front mounts we come through the floor pan where those pipes are sticking out, and that will get tied into the roll cage. The idea behind that was to keep everything as easily interchangeable as possible, because you know, you can get custom arms, you can get custom suspension for this, but it's all made to order, 3 weeks wait, so you've got more chance of finding anything at the track for an S13 or off the shelf if you need be. So I figured there was a lot of labor in converting this, but it made sense at the time, and I still think it does make sense, and it's something different. I will be also converting the front to S13, so I'll be able to have S13 all around. That's the only last thing I have to do. Other than that, this car just needs a fuel system and wiring. From front to back, it's got a custom GJ drive lines, tail shaft already bolted to it. Front to back, it's mounted, the running gear is ready to go. It just needs those finished touches. This is on the back burner. As I said, I've got the E36 to worry about now. This is my more future pro comp car once I, you know, start competing after I buy a house, because this thing is all money at the moment. There's a few things that I've done to it. I do have a bunch of old content. I think a lot of it was filmed on phone that I'll be able to dive into when I do a build video on this, just to get everyone up to speed with all the things that I did to this. I was also post on my Instagram, you might find photos of. Pretty much it for this. Obviously it doesn't run, so I can't do a rev video for you guys. As much as I'd love to limit a bash to LS, we can't do that yet. That's pretty much it for this car. Favorite memories in this will be, honestly, just all the hours by myself, as long as that sounds. Like, I learned so much building this car. Like I said, I bought the welder for 200 bucks. I didn't know how to weld. I knew I had an idea. I'd seen videos how to do it. I'd never actually practiced it myself. So just the hours of fabrication, I have probably over 1,000 hours in just all the chassis work, all the floor pans, you know, the conversion. I put a lot of time into this, just leveling up myself as a builder. I'm pretty excited for the future, for when I do get to put my hands on this again, and just everything I have learned over the past 10 years to be able to reapply to this and make this the car it deserves to be. Future plans obviously are to finish it. This car honestly is not a priority as much as I would love it to. I can't justify building 2 drift cars at once, and I'm trying to buy a house, you know, I'm trying to adult, so this will get done before this. I want to wait till I have a proper shed to be able to tear this down and do it the right way, not rushed. So unfortunately that won't get touched. We'll see, I might do bits and pieces on it, but for now, this is going to take precedence over this. Last but not least, the loud, the obnoxious, the oil leaky, the trusty 96 Land Rover Discovery. For those of you who know me well, you'll know that I daily drove this thing for about 6 years. She's V8, she's tight, she's everything you want in a four-wheel drive. I bought this car probably at least nearly 8 years ago. I flooded it that many times I can't remember. I bought this because all my friends had nice 4Bs, and I just wanted a four-wheel drive that I didn't care about. Something that I can push it through goat tracks, I can flood it, I can sink it up to the doors, which I have multiple times, and just not care about, you know what I mean? I think I paid $2,800 for it, and it also came just like this with another rolling shovel full of parts, because Discoveries are a worker's car. So a few things, obviously we've got UHF, we've got light bars, we've got a bull bar, we've got the 33-inch Mickey Thompson bar claws with the beadlock wheels. Yes, they're real beadlocks, no imitation junk over here. In the interior, there's not much to look at, what you would expect from an old four-wheel drive. It's rugged, it's comfortable for what it was in '96. And honestly, I also bought this because at the time, I only wanted to spend like 3 grand, and my options were this or a GQ Patrol. I love GQ Patrols, don't get me wrong, they're probably one of the best four-wheel drives, but I wanted comfort, do you know what I mean? I wanted something a bit different, I wanted something nice, and this came up for the right price, and for what was available at the time, this was the best above the GQs that were, so we ended up getting this. We joke about the reliability of this car, but honestly, especially when I was daily driving for 6 years, it didn't miss a beat. It had your general old car stuff, like you threw a water pump, but it never left me stranded. I always got it home. I seized the clutch up at Wombat when I flooded it, and I had to drive it home without a clutch. I've done that twice, I've lost brakes, but it's always gotten me home regardless. It does have its electrical gremlins, as Discos do, but the good thing about having a lot of problems being an old car is there's been enough time that everyone knows the fixes to it, so it's just a matter of fixing it. My favourite memories with this thing would have to be, honestly, it's probably all the countless camp trips with my mates. Something about being in the bush, with a campfire, with your 4Bs, with your best mates, and just having a good time. You know, sinking this thing, the first time I bought it, we got it roadweeded in 4 days and drove it straight up to Dargo, 4.5 hour drive, and I'd never driven it more than from home to the shop. So we sent it, as I love to do it. I love a challenge, if you know me. We pushed this thing to the test on its first trip, and she really proved to me that it was a good choice in buying this thing. And it has ever since. Plans wise, honestly, just TLC. Once I got a proper daily, I put this thing back on the back burner. It's just way too expensive on fuel, and it chuffs oil so bad. I've done the rocket cover gaskets, I've done the sump already on it. I'm now leaking from the front main seal because there's more oil pressure now after fixing that. So I tend to the oil leaks and just all the little bits and pieces to make it a reliable car again, so I can make it my dedicated camp car and not have to worry about it. All right, let's give her a bit of a rev, eh? Gotta love a VA. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my car tour. You've learned a bit about me, you've learned a bit about the cars, you've learned their stories and what they look like. They're not perfect, but they're perfect to me, and that's what I like about them. I hope this gets you guys excited for an idea of some of the content you'll be seeing. You know, between the build, the restorations, the drift cars, and also drifting content, pretty much anything in between, you know. Buying cars, I plan to do car reviews on any cool cars. I've got a lot of friends with a lot of cool cars, so I'll be interested to be able to, you know, document anything car culture, anything related, whether I go to shows, whether I go to events, anything you want to see. And let me know, is there stuff that you guys want to see? Anything specific, anything that you guys would prefer to see above other stuff? Also, let me know in the comments which car of these you like the most, which exhaust you like the most for the ones that did run, and what are you excited to see? Obviously, we are starting with the refresh on the Beamer. That's my priority at the moment. We've got the first episode already ready to go out after I get this one out to you guys, so be excited for that. So yeah, I look forward to making videos for you guys. Hopefully you guys like it. I'm gonna put as much effort into it as I can. Obviously, like I said, I don't know how often I'll be doing these videos. I'll try to do it as often as I can. I don't know how often I'll be able to do it. I'm not trying to do this full time. I work full time. I just want to start making more fun videos and just going bigger with the platform. So don't expect weekly, don't expect every couple of days. It'll be as much as I can, as quickly as I can. So just, I ask for your patience. I've got some cool stuff in the works. I've got some announcements already to make that I'm excited to share. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. So I thought a good idea to I finally decided to make the step to YouTube. Oh. Yeah, I don't steal. Yeah. All I've done is put fuel and tyres in it with a few suspension adjustments for the... Shut up. So I can show you guys. Shut up. Like they're beautiful birds, but... Alright, ready?